Good morning.
Good morning. It's September 3rd, first Sunday in September 2022, and our message today is Your Soul's Mission. So I know this is something that all of us would like to be really clear about. What did I come here for? What am I here to do? But I am going to start with a reading from Ernest Holmes, our founder, and I have no light on my, here we go, let me push it back, okay. And it's entitled, God Intelligence Governs My Daily Thoughts and Actions. And the Bible quote is from Philippians 2:3, and it says, and this was Paul writing this, let this mind be in you, which is also in Christ Jesus. And so Ernest Holmes writes, believing that the mind of God is ever present, that divine intelligence is always available. I open my consciousness to its guidance, realizing that my attention must not be divided between believing and doubting. I carefully guard my mental reactions, seeking always to keep them affirmative, to keep them open to that which is constructive. Daily, I reassure myself of this divine fact and affirm that the intelligence that governs all things governs me, that the life that flows through everything flows through me, and that there is one mind, which is God, and this mind is my mind. I believe that this mind is the source of inspiration as well as energy and action and illumination. Therefore, I know that at all times I have a silent, invisible partner walking with me, talking with me, cooperating with me. I keep my mind open to guidance. I let that mind be in me that was also in Christ. And so it is.
That is a mouthful.
That is a mouthful. But it's comforting to think that, you're not separate from the source, God, that you can receive guidance, and that there is help. You are connected, and especially when you want guidance, if you just learn to sit in the silence, it can come to you, and it's very comforting. So our talk today is about your soul's mission. What is your soul's mission? And as I said earlier, this is something that we all want to make sure that we are doing, because we came here for something. What was it we came to do? And so there are a number of questions that you can ask yourself. What is it that you do? And when you do it, time flies. I mean, you just have no recollection of time at all. You just love it. It invigorates you, and it just feels right. It doesn't feel like work. And that's probably what you're supposed to be doing. Bob feels that when he makes art. We have some people here that I think they feel that way when they're taking care of their cats and feral animals and animals that need homes. And maybe that's your purpose, to come here and love the animal kingdom,
Yeah, and I think once you start with something that you feel passionate about, something that warms your heart, something that awakens you, something that when you do it, you feel time stand still and you're no longer old, you're no longer young, you're just alive. Once that happens to you, then that also opens the door to other possibilities that may also have to do with your mission. Your mission isn't necessarily one thing. It could be a multiple of things that you have to do, but you have to get on track, I believe, in order for any of those other things to open up. What happens to us all too often is we shut down because of trauma, we shut down because of stress, we shut down because of conditions around us. And without meaning to, we put our lives on hold, and we're waiting for the right opportunity to turn them back on again or to open our life back up again. And the problem with that is, if spirit is going to speak to us, if inspiration is going to envelop us, if creativity is going to flow through us, we have to be at a point where we're not shut down or going away or waiting for the right time. So that's why meditation is a great bridge. It isn't just that we calm ourselves or find more. Meditation is also a way of opening the door to the greater universe that's available to us. In some ways, it's like we're driving in a car going someplace, and the passenger's seeing all of the scenery, and we're seeing the road because we're busy driving. We have to get to the point where we stop driving, put the brakes on, or stop entirely. But that doesn't mean stop. It means now take in the world around you. Ask yourself, what is it that when I look at it makes me smile, makes me want to have more? What is it that turns on that part of me that is timeless and ageless, as Deepak Chopra talks about? And that's the connection right there. And it may take you from one thing to another, to another, to another. I think we have many, many purposes. I think our ultimate purpose, all of us, is to serve. And I think our ultimate purpose is to serve love, and to serve love in all of its many expressions. Now, if you're an artist like myself and you're not loving what you're doing, you're not serving love, and you can't create great stuff. If you're a writer and you're not serving that love of writing, you're not serving the love of words, the love of thought, the love of ideas, the love of consciousness, you probably will find yourself struggling with finding the right words and noticing that none of them seem to match what you really want to say. So we have to open up to the possibility of more, and that means taking ourselves off hold and looking around and saying, what is it that makes me smile? What is it that makes me feel good?
What brings you joy?
What is it that makes me curious?
What brings you joy? Why don't,
Joy is great.
I want to read a statement by Ernest Holmes, and then I want you to tell the wolf story.
Okay, I can hardly wait.
So Ernest Holmes said in This Thing Called You, a book called This Thing Called You, he said, seek to make your work a prayer, your believing an act, your living an art. It is then that the object of your faith will be made visible to you. It is then that you shall kiss the lips of your desire. So he's saying that, you should love whatever it is you're doing, if it's your mission. And, the mission statement, I wanted to share with you the mission statement and vision statement of our organization, Centers for Spiritual Living, of which we're a part. And the vision is what you want to see in the world. The vision is a world that works for everyone. That's what we want to see in the world. Mm-hmm. The mission is how you do that. How do you get there? And so the mission is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. So we want to awaken every human being to the idea that their spirit is magnificent.
And we can't do that if we're not awake. You see, our being awake is the process of awakening others. And others, when you're awake, want to be around somebody that's awake. The law of attraction really functions beautifully when you're excited and positive and awake, because other people don't even know why they want to hang out with you, but they do. Mm-hmm. Other people want to participate with you. Speaking of which, I've always loved animals, and I think everybody by now has probably heard more than enough of that. But my love of animals in 1973 or 4, I think it was, 75, I think it was, whatever, drove me to Kane, Pennsylvania. And in Kane, Pennsylvania, there's a wolf preserve. And that wolf preserve there's about 100 wolves. And it was founded in 1926. And the man who founded it was in his 80s and having a hard time continuing. And this young couple came, I think he was a veterinarian, saw it and said, this is what we want to do. They didn't say, is this something practical? Is it reasonable? Is this something we can do easily? Is this something that'll profit us? No, they simply said, this feels so valuable and so right, we've got to do it. So they ended up taking over the animal sanctuary and providing the service. But what's interesting in that is what came to them first was this overwhelming love of the thing that they were seeing that made them feel they were connected even before they knew how to connect. Secondly, they then took this on and they lived in what you and I would consider third world country standards and felt themselves to be absolutely living the best world possible. Now, I went to visit them to see the wolves, and they were very, very busy. And so they were so busy that I heard him say to his wife, we're not going to get a chance to have lunch. We got too many people here visiting. And you paid to go in, and that's how they managed to subsidize it, was through payment, so they weren't going to not take customers. So my wife and I both looked at each other and said, we're going to go have lunch. And we went and bought them lunch and brought it back to them. And so after we gave them the lunch, they were so blown away that anybody had actually noticed what they said or actually cared about what they were doing that they invited us to come back after the place closed so they could give us a greater tour. And they did. One of the things that the owner did was take a 9-month-old wolf, which didn't look more like a German Shepherd than anything else, but I didn't realize how big their head is. Opened the wolf's mouth and stuck his head in and said, "See how big they are?" And I thought, my God, this is incredible. But anyway, we got this grand tour. We became part of the family of the sanctuary for wolves. And the reason that we did that is because what happened to me when I opened my mind and my heart and my eyes to what I was seeing is I felt the same love he felt. And he knew it. Mm-hmm. When you feel that love and that connection, it's not hard to think of something that you can do that will be part of the service to the idea. My service to the idea, to the love that I was feeling for these creatures and for the people who were wanting to save them, was to bring them food, which was something that I could easily do. How will you service the idea you have that nurtures you, that makes you feel good? How will you take care of that? I'm working on a project right now, an art project with an incredible woman who's very gifted and very talented and very much a taskmaster. And I say taskmaster meaning that she's always looking at what we need to do next. How is that going to happen? How's that going to work? And what she's saying is, my heart and soul is in this so much that I don't want to miss anything. I want it to go. I want it to work. I want it to work not like it's work, but I want it to work like it serves all of the people that are involved. When you're doing something that serves everyone, there aren't any questions that are too difficult to ask or questions too difficult to answer. When it's something you don't want to do, your heart's not in it, there's nothing but questions and reasons not to do it.
Exactly. And it could be your whole life is your mission. I want to read a quote from Byron Sherwin, who is a Jewish scholar and rabbi. And he says, "Each of us is an artist, commissioned to create one great work of art during our lifetime. And that work of art is our own life." So your whole life may be dedicated to seeing the divinity in others, to lifting with love, to aid in whatever way that you can, and so that is a work of art. You don't have to find any particular mission except my mission is to love and serve.
Somebody asked me recently, and I get to ask this question a lot because I'm an artist, and I posted a piece of artwork on my Facebook page, and somebody looked at it and they said, "How long did it take you to make that?" That's a very common question. How long did it take you to create that? Normally I say, well, a day, 2, 3 days, 4 days, and for some reason I really realized the truth of that. I said, I think it took me about 51 years. And that was, and I'm not being pretentious, you see, because what I'm creating today couldn't exist without all of the creations that have gone on, the creative process that's gone on for the last 50 years. I've been creating for 50 years, and the present moment is the opportunity for all of that to be expressed. It isn't when suddenly something just happens. It's all part of a cumulative process. So part of that too is respecting our history, respecting our past, respecting all of the things that have happened, both difficult and pleasant and unpleasant, and saying, that's all part of what makes things work. It's all part of how I've come to be. Now how can I serve? Now, I'm making a distinction here about how can I use all of this, recognize all of this as part of my service to humanity, a part of my service to my soul, as opposed to, well, you see, I got hurt 25 years ago and I haven't been able to trust since, so I put myself on hold. And I run into a lot of people who have lots of areas of their lives that are on hold. And because their lives are on hold, they're missing a lot of life, and they get to the point where they don't actually even notice that they're missing the life, and then they don't notice that they're missing. We were talking to somebody recently who had gone through some significant losses, and she was very astute in noticing that after that loss she couldn't listen to music. And she had to shut out a whole arena of feeling, of emotion, of love, and of light, because it was too painful for her to connect with.
To feel. Too painful to start feeling.
So when she was able to open that door again, I would assert that she became more whole, or she recognized her wholeness, she recognized her whole beingness. Now, if you've got lots of areas of your life that you're shut off to, and you're saying, why doesn't life turn me on? The reason is because you have shut too many doors. You've shut too many parts of you away. Now, you can go back and try to open all of those doors, Or if you discover a mission that you have that's really exciting, that you want to participate in, every door that's locked will be in front of you, and you say, I got to unlock that one next. When I wanted to do printing and I couldn't print because I didn't have a printer, I put out the universe, I need a printer, I need a printer, I need a printer. And before long, the right people, the right combinations, the right circumstances showed up, and there I've got a printer. But see, the life of that interaction continues to go forward, because now I'm working on a slideshow, and I can't afford. I don't have the cash right now to pay for a slideshow. But the person who's working with me said, "You have a large format printer?" I said, "I sure do. Could we trade?" I said, "Sure. I will serve you my printer if you'll serve me a slideshow." So the slideshow may not, I don't think, cost me anything, because I prepaid it with my excitement and my energy and my commitment to my creative process, which got me a printer. What else will it get? What will your excitement and enthusiasm about the thing that is your mission get you? Or will you use failures and difficulties and disappointments as your reason for not embarking on living your life?
You know, Karen Noe, who is the author of the new book, We Consciousness,
Yeah, it's a good book.
says that one of the things she does is, in her prayer, say, God, how may I serve today? And she said the response, she is a psychic medium, so she hears responses, and she hears, how may I serve you? And so I think that when we choose to serve, that often the paths are parted, as Bob was saying. The ways become available for you to serve others by having things, people, places, and things come into your life to make that possible.
Yeah.
And this is also what we teach with the science of mind, which is that you just have to decide the what. What is it you want to experience? What is it you want to be, do, and have? Be, do, or have. You just have to decide the what. And know that when you're doing it in service, that all things come together. The law of attraction attracts the right people, the right places, the right ways for you to be in service, because God or the universe is wanting to help you serve by serving you. So that's a profound thing to contemplate.
Now, we need to be willing to set the stage in the middle of what seems to be the most absurd condition to favor us and to think we want to do or we believe. And I'm going to give you an example that's nothing's better than our own personal experiences in living day to day. I work on what's called a crisis stabilization unit for psychiatric patients, and the people that are admitted, by and large, are in serious crisis. And many of them are really, really, really psychotic, to the point where they're there because they're a danger to themselves or someone else. So imagine I have a group of 15 people somewhere between I can't be here, I don't want to be here, and they're talking to the walls. And then my job is to do a talk. Well, we've had lots of people come in and do talks. They do a group. They call it a group. You try doing a group when you've got 10 people that are hallucinating. And but what I did, and this is setting the stage, is I said, for some of you, it doesn't work, Judith.
That's okay.
For some of you, this is a psychiatric unit. For me, it's a high-end coffee shop. And all of you have been invited today to this high-end coffee shop because you're very special. And since we're all very special and you're unique and original and incredible, I'm going to do a short talk here, and I want you to participate like you were invited. Anyway, I did the talk on commitment and what you're committed to and how you're committed, and that's fine. I finished the talk, and they actually stood up and gave me an applause. The staff got up and said, "What's going on here?" You see, normally it's like, "Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Can we go? Can we get our treat? Can we go outside?" And I mean, the demands, even while you're talking, are excessive. Like, "Why are you talking?" Or they'll talk. Everybody, literally. But you see, what happens is you frame the experience of this thing called your life as if it has, because it will, once you've done it, great value. And the people that are in it have great importance and great value. So I had a hard time leaving the area because I was in tears. I mean, my God, this is incredible. And then I get to do more and more and more work. I get paid the same amount whether I do a talk in which I inspire and uplift and encourage as I do when I just, well, let's get this thing done and I can go do something else that I want to do. And so, how will you approach even the most difficult situations? How will you frame those so that when you're in it, and anyone that's in it with you is in a winning situation even before anything gets done? I think we often paint ourselves as losers and ask ourselves, why aren't I winning? We need to ask ourselves, how am I painting myself in this situation? Am I a victim that has to do a group amongst a bunch of people who are going to be talking while I'm talking, who are just absolutely out to lunch and dinner at the same time? Or will I look around and connect with whoever I can connect with and inspire and uplift and be inspired myself? And if I choose that, eventually what happens is other people start picking up on it. Other people will join you when you're excited, when you're enthusiastic, when you have a vision, and you can change your vision. So for any of you out there watching thinking, well, I don't know what my mission is, pick one.
Well, and notice what brings you joy.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, pick one and then see, does this feel good? Don't wait till something picks you. Pick something and start heading in that direction and see,
And ask a few questions. Does this serve others? Does this help the world? Do I feel good when I'm doing it?
Excellent.
Then that's what's important. Don't do something because you think you have to. That just makes you a victim, and all you'll spread is ill will in the world.
Well, I know, and I've said this before, but if there's anybody new that hasn't heard it or hasn't gotten it, it's really, I think what a big breakthrough for me was because I went back to work after having retired. I wasn't enthusiastic or possibly excited about getting up at 6:15 in the morning to go to work and work 40 hours a week after retiring. So I had to go to work. I got to go to work. I got to go to work. And I said that every day. And I would get there and I said, I got to be here until 8 hours. And then at some point, I don't know what it was that we watched or I read. I think it was some of the Seth material. And I realized I'm saying the wrong words. I get to go to work. This is a privilege. I get to serve. When I did that, the energy that I had for getting up in the morning was different than the energy I didn't have for getting up in the morning, and the energy I had during work. And suddenly what happens at work is people who hardly know me say, Bob, we're so glad you're here. You know, when you sit down in the day room, things change. The energy changes. I said, I know. I just sit there and I color. They said, I know. I don't know what you're doing, but when you're there, things are different. They're different because consciousness makes things different even when you don't say anything. Be the consciousness of service because you can be, and you don't have to say anything about it. You don't have to tell a single soul that you're here to change the world and make it a better place. And when you go home at night from wherever you are and smile and say, I did it, and nobody even noticed, and it was great. My best work that I love doing, I don't think anybody even sees it. It's just sort of like, I don't know, this feels good. Excellent. You're not on the hook for having to do more. Nobody's going to make you wrong for having been a goody two-shoes. You just get to be the best you, to have the best life you can have, because that's what you're here for.
So let's close with an affirmative prayer. And join me if you would. So let's go within all of us and know that we acknowledge there's one source of all life, one God, one spirit, one infinite intelligence. And it is always present, and it is always present and available to us.
And so today we agree to allow that presence to fully blossom. We give ourselves permission to grow into the greatest possibility that there is for us. We allow ourselves to touch the idea of the mission, to move into the mission that may be unknown to us even before these words, that becomes known to us, and to embrace it and say thank you.
We say thank you. We are here to serve. We are here to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. We give thanks for the opportunity. It is a blessing. We release now, and together we say,
and so it is.
So it is.
Now we're going to go to what's called share screen, which for those of you that don't know what that means that we're going to actually, we've lost it.
We sure have. So you're going to have to turn that off.
Okay.
And we'll just end the recording.
Okay. We had it set. Okay.